Happy Tuesday, top coaches, and welcome back for a new coach story. Today, you're going to meet Coach Steve Smith. And Steve is a business coach. He also runs a podcast called Business Wingmen with his son, and he and his wife both ride motorcycles as well, which I find pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and kick off our interview with Steve today. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Zach, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. We'll go ahead and dive into the first question. And as you know, if you've been following along on my interviews, we throw in a few random questions. The first question I have for you today is, what is your favorite childhood memory?
Well, my favorite memory as a kid, I was 13 years old, and I had two brothers very tightly packed in age range. And my parents told us that they were having a fourth child. And so it was a little bit of a, little bit of an eye opener because I'm already 13, I'm in junior high. But then they came back and told us that because now the house wasn't big enough, that we were going to move to a new place. And the new area we moved in was a brand new community. It had a lot of amenities that we just weren't used to growing up. That also meant I was going to go to a new junior high and a new high school. And basically the trajectory of my life in terms of what I ended up getting exposed to completely changed from that day on. And I, even to this day, I thank my youngest brother for coming around because he was kind of the catalyst for all this change. But that was a kind of a monumental time early in life. And it was a great one. I mean, there were so many good things that happened as a result of us moving into a different location that, I'll always remember that.
Well, I moved a lot as a kid, and it was kind of good and bad, but it's one of those things, the positives I've always taken out of it is learning how to adapt to change, and that's always been a good thing. All right, well, the second question I have for you, Steve, is how did you realize that your gift is in coaching?
Figuring out that I had a gift for coaching was I knew it early on in my former career. I used it a lot working with employees and clients and even senior management folks. I just didn't realize what it was called. It was more of an innate thing that I just did because I knew I was good at it. And it wasn't until I left that career back in 2008 and actually ran into a woman by mistake on the internet who ended up being a consultant and helps executive level people from large scale companies figure out what they should be doing in a small business environment. And she was the one who introduced me to it after she went through my background and looked at a lot of things I had done and talked to other people. She said, this is perfect for you. And to that point, I didn't realize that there was an entire industry for this. And so that's kind of how I got introduced to it.
Well, that's awesome, Steve. So I have another question for you, and I'd like to know if you have a favorite coaching memory.
I worked with a young fellow in a digital online company that had gotten large enough to where they were operating in all 50 states. And he was in charge of all of their e-commerce monetization. So the guy had a pretty big role in the company, and he had a lot of people reporting to him. And he was constantly underwater. It was always like, gee, the stuff I need to do versus the things I need my people to do. And he just wasn't managing the process well. And I worked with him for about 8 months and got him really clear on his role and really what he should be doing to empower the entire department. And once he really understood that, and he wasn't looking at it through the eyes of, gee, what do I have to do today? But what can I get all my people to do that they already do really well so I can kind of back away from the weeds? His performance went up. In fact, it went up so well that 6 months after I was done with him, he got promoted to a VP role. Now, that wasn't part of the arrangement. That was just kind of a byproduct of, how he was able to upgrade his own performance and kind of the way he impacted the department, which was really the core of what the company relied on for its revenue. So that just always, I always look back and I think, wow, if I can not only get people to perform better in their role, but at the end of it, they actually get promoted or they get moved up in their career, maybe they ascend to a level that they never thought they would get to. I mean, that's why I do this.
The next question is, if you had to write a book tomorrow, what would you write about?
This has actually been on my mind for almost a year now. And like a lot of people, I kind of have it in my head and I've never been able to get it out on paper. So I'm actually working with another guy in Top Coach that's kind of guiding me through that process of just getting it out. But I've got this book in mind and I've actually got the name of the book. It's called Clout. And the whole design of the book is helping people figure out how to show up, how to engage, how to interact, and how to influence people around them so they can be really looked at as high value assets in their organization. Not because they're telling everybody how good they are, but just the sense of people just knowing it and wanting to be around them and work with them and be part of their inner circle. And so many people come to me and they don't actually say, this is what I want. But after about 3 or 4 sessions, that's what I figure out. That's what they want. They just want to have greater impact, and they want other people to just know it without them having to say it.
I love how that ties into your story and how you'll be able to share a lot of what you've learned over the years in that book. That's going to be great. So next question, Steve, is what brought you to the Top Coach community?
I was introduced to Top Coach by another gentleman that was already in Top Coach. His name is John Witt. He and I have known each other for well over a decade. We've actually collaborated on other things. We talk quite frequently. And the reason I enjoy that and the reason I decided to take a deeper look at Top Coach was because I just want to be introduced to and develop relationships with more people like him. You run into a lot of folks in networking and other forums, and there are a lot of people that are great people. They're nice to have lunch with or have a beer with, but you don't run into too many people that can really challenge you to think deeply about what's most important to you. And so I'm figuring, okay, if he's part of that organization, then there's got to be other people out there just like that. So I thought, all right, this is a good reason to get involved.
That's awesome. John's a fantastic guy, and I've had the privilege and pleasure to be in a small cohort with him for over a year now. So just getting to know him has been fantastic. There's a 2-part question, which I like to ask, and I ask everybody the same question, and it's what do you hope to get personally out of being here, personally and professionally? And then also, what do you hope that you can offer the community?
The thing I would love to be able to get out of an organization like Top Coach is basically stacking my inner circle with more people that are really serious about the coaching profession. And I say that only because I have a lot of colleagues and acquaintances that dabble in coaching. And it's okay. I mean, you go to whatever length you need to satisfy whatever it is you want out of coaching. But I just find there's not a lot of people that really treat it like a business. And so I'm looking for more people at that level to help me take up my game. Now, what do I give people that I network with and develop relationships with? And I will tell anybody how I've done something if they look at what I'm doing and think, wow, I'd like to have it. I'd like to have what he's got. So I basically give away, the sauce.
It's definitely going to fit well with the community and why we founded it. We're challenging ourselves to grow so we can do a better job for ourselves, for our families, and for our clients. And I really think it's that sharpening of the saw coming together, connecting, learning,
Right.
growing outside of our bubbles, which is why we created Top Coach. All right, Steve, the last question that I have for you is what's one thing from your heart that you'd like to leave our community with today?
The thing that I most like to convey to other people in the coaching profession, knowing isn't doing. I think in a lot of professions, people spend a lot of their time acquiring knowledge and getting certificates here and this and that. And they're just kind of building their repertoire of, these are all the things I know. But they don't spend enough time putting them into practice to be able to get out of their business what they want. And so when I work with other coaches, and I have a few now that are actually clients, and that's the first thing I tell them. Say, look, you're going to learn what you need to be able to go out and implement. Try it out. Go out into the marketplace and work with it, because that's the only way you're going to get clients. And 9 times out of 10, the reason they're coming to me is not because they want to be better coaches. It's because they feel like they should be getting more of a return on all the time and effort they're putting into networking and online marketing and whatever else they've chosen to do to try to get the word out and establish themselves in the community they're trying to do business with. So that's my mantra to everybody is start looking at picking up on things that will actually put you out there and get you into the execution phase, because that's at the point where you're going to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. Such great advice. And it's a great way to end the conversation today. And I look forward to getting to know you more, Steve, as we grow in the community. And I really just ask everybody in the community to message Steve, say hi, welcome him in. His links will be right down below, and you can click over to his profile and say hi and get to know him there. And Steve, thank you again for being here today.
Zack, thanks for having me on. I look forward to, as this organization blossoms and I meet new coaches, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.